It's interesting with affiliate marketing, and this is something that on our podcast we've tried to do a lot to sort of get over this hurdle in other people's minds, is that I feel like with affiliate marketing there's a little bit of a stigma. It's almost sort of divisive. Some people don't see it as a legitimate business, and I think with Joe and I, we actually struggle with that for a few years of like, okay, most of our money's coming from affiliate marketing, and we'd hear people say that's not a real business. You need to, you need this other stuff if you're going to be a real business. And it was something we struggled with while our affiliate marketing revenue was growing. We're like, we're making more and more money month over month, but people are telling us this isn't a legitimate business. But there was like that weird mental thing we had going on of feeling illegitimate. And I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
Dude, I'm interested on like how your thoughts on that too.
Yeah.
No, I totally know what you're saying, because it feels. And Tony Robbins kind of talks about, sorry if I go on tons of tangents, but Tony Robbins talks about this is kind of like where you feel like, it's like imposter syndrome, right?
Yep.
Like, and once you go above your comfort level, it starts feeling funny. And I remember when I was like, in my early 20s and, my income went from like, I was making $6,000 a month at my job. And then, it zoomed up to like $50,000 a month, and I'm like 23 or 24. And it's almost like you're like, this isn't right. Like, I shouldn't be making this much money.
It feels like you broke the system or something. You're
yeah,
like,
or we found a loophole. Or, yeah.
Yeah, it's imposter syndrome. And it definitely felt weird for a little bit. I started making over, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. I know a lot of people in the affiliate marketing industry have this like self-hate, and I definitely had that too. And
what do you mean by that? Like literally
like I'm making a lot of money, but like, is what I'm doing wrong? And like everybody, like all these other affiliates are like, they almost like we're like making out like criminals, but I was like, am I doing something bad or am I not? Like, I don't know, because I'm making so much money. Like, I must be doing something bad. And I thought about it for a while, but eventually I came to the conclusion that a lot of, Garcinia Cambogia had some sort of bad reputation, but actually I looked into all these products myself, and I was like, okay, I'm actually going to like buy and like look into these products and like use them and like actually see what I'm selling, because I had no clue. Yeah. And I tried out the weight loss products and I looked into how they worked and like the chemicals and all that stuff. And Garcinia Cambogia is an appetite suppressant. And what it was commonly paired with, because I was selling like, I'd sell Garcinia Cambogia, then it would immediately upsell to kind of like a liver flushing thing. So it suppresses your appetite and it cleanses your intestines out. It makes you like, you poop out like you've never
detox.
Yeah, it's a detox thing. And like I'd never done a detox, and I was like, oh my gosh, this detox stuff is gnarly. Like I didn't realize I had all this stuff blocked in my intestines. And when I actually did that, I realized that I was the alternative to all of the McDonald's advertising and the Burger King advertising, and that what I was doing is actually really like the problem was there for a reason. And I realized it's because the fast food companies advertise everywhere and people need to lose weight. Yeah. And this is a solution. While some people may not think it's the proper solution, like people would say, you don't need pills, you need like exercise and, healthy diet, but a lot of people don't, that's very difficult for them to find the time to do, or that it's not their lifestyle. They
or
go
discipline or whatever it is. Yeah.
They go barbecue, they eat a rack of they're not going to go on the freaking, vegetable diet. So I realized that a lot of these industries have been pushed to the margins. A lot of the industries that are in affiliate marketing have been pushed to the margins, but they have a genuine way of helping people out. And I realized what I was doing was not bad. And I was just helping kind of marginalized industries for whatever political reasons get their message out there and help people. And that was a huge change for me.
Yeah, I think one of the things that sort of helped us was, you know, we were talking to one of our buddies, Josh Bartlett. He was telling us, he was comparing us to like the Madison Avenue ad men, right? Like the Ogilvies of the world, saying, look, Ogilvy, he didn't make the products he sold, and he wasn't the consumer of the products. He was the guy that just helped make them sell better. Yep. He's like, you guys are just doing that. Do you consider Ogilvy's, you know, the Madison Avenue ad men, do you consider them a legit business? Of course you do. How are you guys any different? Yeah. And that was sort of one of the reframings that I think really helped us a lot.
And it was another piece was, it was like that. And then we're like, okay, let's make our, you know, our mindset was just like, okay, it's not legitimate. So we built a structure around it that felt more legitimate, I guess. Like we kind of connected all the pieces, like from the podcast to our email list to our Facebook group and all these other buckets of audiences. Just kind of created this like ecosystem that we can then be a legitimate in our mind, you know, like we could show like, okay, we're wearing a shit ton of people by pairing them up with what they need at the right point. And paired up with that, we're like, oh, okay. And ever since then, revenue's gone more, work has gone down for us. So it's like, it's weird how these mental blocks can really fuck you up, you know, and off rail. Yeah.
And you know, another way to that maybe help the audience understand this is, you know, NerdWallet, you know, is a good example of this. You know, they review what the best credit cards are, and that, you know, Expedia.com, Orbitz, you know, cheap, any flight booking thing, you know, Priceline, those are all affiliate companies. You know, the fact of the matter is most companies don't even, you know, sell stuff anymore. Like Uber is just, it's basically like their own affiliate network for like people who like have a car and free time and want money, and people who like don't want to drive and have money. And it's just like, it's all arbitrage. Uber doesn't own cars, you know. Hotels.com, another $100 million plus affiliate company, doesn't own any hotels, but it's the biggest hotel company. So it's, you know, the internet revolution, the connections that, you know, the internet can create are still just, it's in its infancy still. Yeah. We just need to connect everything, and that's what we're doing. It's and it's fun.
It's super cool. And the way you described it was actually just very helpful, because when you start looking at the business models, a lot of those companies, you're just like, they just built a container, the system, and they have these partnerships with like hotels.com. It's just with a bunch of hotels or groups of hotels. And they have the eyeballs, hotels.com does, solving that need, and they're just pairing it up with a solution, aggregating them in a simple way and that's all you're doing. You're building a journey, a nice resource, and boom, affiliate marketing. Like that is a money business right there.